Good morning. Glad to have you aboard. Joining us live in the studios now is Mr. Sonaris Green. Sonaris is seeking the office of State Representative for District 72. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
We appreciate you being here. So listen, I gotta say off the bat, I probably knew Sonaris before he knew himself. No, I'm just kidding. But but I'm excited that you stepped up to offer yourself to the public as a public servant. I think it's also important to know that Sonaris' mom had this seat before, so it's like you're following in a great line of tradition. But I gotta ask you first and foremost, and we'll get to your background in a little bit, but I always like posing this question. Why do you feel compelled to serve?
And can I correct you?
Yes.
So we friends.
Yes, absolutely you can.
I will say that this is not new to me as far as public servitude. This is just a different opportunity for me to serve in a different capacity. I've always, from my life, as far as I can remember back to my parents introduced me to UMC's Mississippi Methodist Rehab Center. Had a volunteer program that ran alongside the Candy Stripers. And so, between that and growing up in the church, in Washington D.C., there was always an opportunity for doing service. But as you know, that even though there's always an opportunity for service, the laborers have always been few. So I've always kind of had an inkling, a feeling, a desire to, whatever the Lord blessed me with, whatever opportunities, experience I gained, whatever insight and opportunities my mother gave me, my father gave me, they kind of instilled in me those values that allowed me to always want to have a desire to want to give back. So the opportunity became available. I worked this last year in the Mississippi Legislature, the last 2 years, for the last 6 years from a DC's perspective, looking at the needs of Mississippi, specifically the 2nd Congressional District, including Jackson and Ridgeland. And so it was just felt right. That's the way of saying it, for me to take this kind of next step to continuing the service that I've been doing, just in a different capacity.
All right, so not new to service, but new to seeking this office. So you're then saying that based on all the other things that you've done, this felt right. It felt as the right next step.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Talk a little bit about District 72 and your knowledge of it.
So District 72, there's been some changes, and we've been trying to get the message out as much as possible so people know that after the last redistricting, some precincts have changed. So if you live in Pocahontas and Cynthia, you're still a part of the district. So those don't change. So those are voting blocks. If you're in 83, which is New Hope, if you're in 82, which is Hanging Mountain Church of Christ, if you're in 81, which
home
is
team,
home team,
right?
Home team, no plug.
That's right.
If you're in 81, which is Alders Gate, right on Beasley Avenue. If you're 80, which is the Tougaloo community, that's one of our split precincts. So if you still live over in that area, you'll still vote over on Vine Street. Tougaloo, the campus itself. And then there's 3 new precincts we picked up in Ridgeland, which is Ridgeland 1, 3, and 4, which is the Marks Apartment Complex, which is on Lake Harbor, the Ridgeland Recreational Center, which is right on the backside. You can see from Cockatoo Walk, you can see across the water over to the parking lot area. That's voting precinct, and Colonial Heights, the church.
All right, so it's a pretty experience. So you lost then Presidential Hills.
The Presidential Hills area, that the leg that came down to Flag Chapel, the Westchester, that backside, that was where the redistricting came in and the shift over to go a little farther east.
And the governor set the special election for?
Special election has been set August 23rd. Now, when the Representative Campbell announced a few months ago, we immediately hit the ground running to make sure that people knew that there was going to be a good representative coming out there with an interest. And at the time, we did not know when the election was going to be, so as time went on, we were kind of planning for November. But as we know now, August 23rd, we've been telling everybody, August 23rd is a special election. It's going to be critical. We got critical times going on. It's going to be critical that people make sure their voices are heard and show up at the polls.
So your mom set the bar pretty high when she was there, and I think that those after her, have maintained that. And Representative Kimberly Kimball has done just an awesome job, or did an awesome job, in her time in that office. From your vantage point, Sonaris, what do you see as the most pressing needs for the district?
Pressing needs for the district, and I will say that Representative Campbell did a body of work. My mom did a body of work, but I've been really, my Barack Obama, I'll be clear that there's a clear line of demarcation between my aspirations in life and the things I've done and what my parents instilled in me. A lot of times people forget that I had a phenomenal father, Cornelius Green Jr., retired military, was in the reserve. He's deceased now. He instilled in me a lot of the values that now give me my dotting I's, crossing T's, and structural things. But I've had great parents who taught me great things. But I've developed my own background and my own record of experience, which is what I plan on bringing to District 72. But what the District 72 needs aren't that much different from what the needs have been for the state. We've got a number of public schools that are within that area. There are a number of infrastructure issues that everybody's having to deal with in both Hinds and Madison County. Business development is still a need. There's always an interest for getting more economic development and making sure that our middle class has an opportunity to do more reinvestment, that we're taking advantage of opportunities being given to our lower class, and that our tax system is structured to where it's fair and appropriate for everybody. But then there's also the need for health care. We're still a state that has gobs of issues with healthcare disparities, infant mortality rates are extremely high, teen pregnancy. Making sure that across the district and across the state, we're providing affordable, accessible healthcare that's of a good, sound quality, are kind of the keys issues going on. And again, they speak well to what's needed in District 72, but as we know, these are all statewide issues.
So the climate this last legislative session was a little tough, particularly tough for Democrats, you know, with the Republicans having a supermajority in the House and all those kinds of things. What do you bring to the table that will allow you to finesse through this tangled web, if you would?
Is this where I get a chance to tell about my background?
Yeah.
And we are running it's a special election, so we do run nonpartisan. But I do, unequivocally, without shame, run as a yellow dog Democrat in this race. So what I bring to the table, I'm a graduate of the public school system. Got my bachelor's in criminal justice from Jackson State with emphasis in juvenile justice. I also have my master's in education from Jackson State, early childhood. I also have my MBA from Millsaps. I've given my life of service, about 20 years of working on the local, county, state, and federal levels of government. That started from when I worked from the Attorney General's office, working in consumer advocacy, where we did a lot of work fighting for protecting the elderly from fraud and abuse. I worked for the Division of Medicaid, where I worked to ensure that Medicaid services and assistance was given to recipients. I worked for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks doing field auditing for the state. And then I went down and I did 14 years. I have about 14 years of working experience in law enforcement. I was in Hattiesburg. I was a sergeant. I was your officer friendly. So I was the guy who showed up at your schools doing the DARE and the GREAT programs, but I also worked in investigations, crimes against persons, sexual assaults and crimes against children. And that kind of built up an opportunity for me. There was a vacancy that came open in 2010 on the Committee on Homeland Security. So I ended up going to DC and I worked on the Committee on Homeland Security, working in intel gathering, information sharing, terrorism risk assessment. And I was also dual staff working in Congressman Thompson's office as a legislative aide, and I worked on the issues that range from healthcare, education, small business, labor, veteran affairs, military defense, homeland security. And so that kind of gave me a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, a wealth of connectivity, and a wealth of appreciation about how local government, federal government work best when they're working in sync with each other. And so that body of experience gave me the opportunity to come back here in 2013 as a City of Jackson city manager. Where we had to deal with a number of issues that everybody knows that are problematic in Jackson.
Right.
But it was a great experience for me to push my skill set to manage a $500 million capital asset budget. And now currently, I do the legislative oversight for the City of Jackson, both to the state legislature and to Congress. And so in that last 2 or 3 years of what I've been doing to serve the city, I have had to deal with working to advocate against a supermajority that doesn't necessarily appreciate the needs of District 72. We've seen budget cuts across the state. We've seen I don't know how you say it, the magical disappearance of $57 million.
Magical is a word.
we've seen the onset of what $400 million in tax cuts could mean to the general fund and government services across the state. We've seen the difficulties that Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Family Services, and Department of Human Services had to deal with in budget cuts, especially since the state is having issues now from a federal monitoring standpoint, and how are we caring for our kids in our foster care programming. So what do I bring to the table? I bring to the table an awareness of what the key issues are, what the problems are, that's good. It's always good to come to the table with an awareness of that there's a problem.
Right.
But my mom and dad always told me, it's easy to bring a problem to the table. What we need is people who can bring solutions.
Absolutely.
I have worked on issues from Congressman Thompson's office on health care and the importance of Medicaid to our state. I worked on issues in the city of Jackson to work with the state legislature and with executive offices and getting funding like the Tiger Grant, the $16.5 million from the federal government for infrastructure improvements, and on the state level, Mississippi Department of Transportation for bridge road aid assistance programs. So I've done the work. What I'm asking District 72 now is just to give me the opportunity to continue to serve them, and I guarantee they won't be disappointed.
All right, very good. Real quick now, the special election is again when?
Special election is again August 23rd. August 23rd. Make sure everybody's out, and when you go out, make sure you take somebody with you.
All right, very good. So if they want to connect with your campaign prior to then,
If
how do
they want to
do that?
connect, when they connect, here's how you do it. You can contact us through our website at Synaris Green, that's SYNARUS, Green, the number 4, House, HOUSE, 72.com. From there, you can reach us by phone, contact us from the website. You can sign up to volunteer if you want to assist with canvassing, if you want to help with phone banking, or you just want to find out where you want to vote at, where your precincts are. All that information you can get from our website. You can also see us on LinkedIn. If you hashtag Get on the Green Team, it'll lead you either to our LinkedIn, our Facebook, or our Twitter page.
All right, very good. Now, there was a Facebook comment about your time as city manager. Now, you served as city manager under Mayor Lumumba, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. All right, very good. All right, very good. So, special election, August 23rd. August 23rd. And he's asking for your vote. Synaris, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me. Mr.
Appreciate you being here. All right, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll chop it up in the barbershop. Stay right there.
Bring the kids out for free school.